Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtati. Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome to the daily Bhagavad Gita class. Today we are going to talk on chapter 3, which is the Karma Yoga section, verse text 30. Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirmamaha Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Tatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmano Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva Vigatajvaraha Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva युद्ध स्विगत ज्वरा मायि सर्वाणि कर्माणि संन्यास्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशे निर्ममो भूत्वा युद्ध स्विगत ज्वरा. So what translation? Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Mayi unto me, sarvani, all sorts of karmani, activities, sannyasya, giving up completely, adhyatma, with full knowledge of the self, chetasha, by consciousness, nirashi, without desire for profit, nirmamaha, without ownership, bhutva, so being, yudhyasva, fight, vigata jvara, without being lethargic. Meaning by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. But this verse clears that one has to become fully Krishna conscious to discharge duties, as if in military discipline. Such an injunction may make things a little difficult. Nevertheless, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. Arjuna was therefore ordered by Shri Krishna to fight as if the Lord were his military commander. One has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. Arjuna did not have to consider the order of the Lord. He had only to execute his order. The Supreme Lord is the soul of all souls. Therefore, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetash. Nirashi means that one has to act on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. The cashier may count millions of dollars for his employer, but he does not claim a cent for himself. Similarly, one has to realize that nothing in the world belongs to any individual person, but that everything belongs to the Supreme Lord. That is the real purport of Mai, or unto me. And when one acts in such Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. And if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. In this way, one may become vigatajara, or without feverish mentality or lethargy. Everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge, and all such duties may be discharged in Krishna consciousness, as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya Chakshuramitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Shakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaskute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamani Harike Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Prashchakya Desha. So welcome everybody, a very strong shloka, strong instructions. So let's try and break it down and try and understand this shloka a little bit better. So before we understand this shloka, we need to go a little bit back, a few verses back. So Lord Krishna very compassionately prepares Arjuna's intelligence through verses 3.25 to 29. In these verses, Krishna explains how work should be performed, for whom it should be performed, and with what consciousness it should be performed. In 3.25, Lord Krishna establishes a very important distinction. He says that ignorant men work with attachment to the results, but the learned, wise person works without attachment. He doesn't work for personal gain, but for the benefit of the masses. Here Krishna introduces the idea of lok sangraha, maintaining the social order and spiritual balance in the world. Srila Prabhupada explains in this verse that a devotee does not retire from work artificially, rather he works responsibly, but always with Krishna in the center. The key point here is the devotee's work becomes preaching, because by his example again. By his example, he teaches others how to act without selfish desire. In 3.26, Krishna gives a very sensitive instruction. He says the learned person should not disturb the minds of the ignorant who are attached to those fruitive results. Instead of criticizing or condemning them, the wise person should engage them gradually by performing his own duties properly and inspire others through example. Prabhupada emphasizes here that spiritual life is not about agitation, it is about elevation. If a devotee prematurely tells materialistic people to give up their work or responsibilities, they may become confused or rebellious. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is taught by example, patience, and compassion. In 3.27, Krishna reveals a deep philosophical truth. He explains that all activities are actually carried out by the modes of the material nature. That is the doer, not the person. But the conditioned soul, due to false ego, thinks, I am the doer. This false identification, I am acting independently, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer, is the root cause of bondage. Prabhupada explains that the soul is never independent. We are always acting under higher control, either under material nature or under Krishna's internal energy. Freedom does not mean acting whimsically. True freedom means willingly acting under Krishna's direction. In 3.28, Krishna contrasts the ignorant person with the learned devotee. A person who understands the difference between the soul and the modes of nature is not bewildered by activity. He sees clearly. This is senses of acting upon sense objects. I am not this body. He sees that clearly. Because of this knowledge, the devotee remains detached, even while fully engaged in action. Prabhupada explains that such a person works enthusiastically, but without anxiety, pride, or frustration. He knows that Krishna is the ultimate controller and ultimate beneficiary.
In 329, Krishna issues a gentle warning. Those who are bewildered by the modes of nature become attached to material activities, and therefore the learned should not disturb them. Why? Because disturbance without any realization does not lead to liberation. Instead, the learned devotee remains fixed ex properly and gradually helps others rise from ignorance to knowledge. Prabhupada stresses here that compassion must always be guided by wisdom. Real kindness is not sentiment. It is guiding people toward Krishna consciousness without shocking their conditioned minds. Shah? Switch off the fence. So, all these verses are now leading to 3.30. Lord Krishna establishes here three essential principles. First, work must be done without attachment. Second, the devotee must lead by example. Third, one must understand that Krishna is the doer and we are his instruments. So, Mai Sarvani Karmani, surrendering all your work unto me. Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasha, in full knowledge of me and the soul. Nirashir Nirmamo Bhutva. Three words here, very important. Nirashir means without desire of profit. Nirmamo Bhutva, without claim of proprietorship. And finally, Vigata Jwara, free from lethargy. Yudhyasva means fight.
So, Krishna is giving three very important instructions. Very important to understand this. Don't desire profit when you work. Don't claim any proprietorship that I am the doer, this is mine. And be free from lethargy. Lethargy is laziness. Lethargy means feverish. Lethargy means a hesitation. Fight only for my pleasure. So, the other word, very important word here is Adhyatma Chetas. Prabhupada says in the purport, one who depends solely and wholly on the Supreme Soul without personal consideration, or in other words, one who is fully Krishna conscious, is called Adhyatma Chetas. Basically, the one who understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead and depends on the Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Adhyatma Chetas. He is on a full Krishna conscious platform. Now let's understand these three instructions here. We start with Nirashya. Nirashya means one has to act on the order of the master, but should not expect fruitive results. So when it comes to the servant is busy serving the master the whole day. If the master is happy with him, he will give him something. But the servant won't go and tell him, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this to the master, and I did all this for you. No, he won't do that. So, this is what I want from the servant says, this is what I want from the master. He won't say that. The servant selflessly serves his master. This quality is called Nirashya. Prabhupada gives a very amazing example about the cashier. So the cashier is counting money from morning till evening. There is the bank for his boss, for the bank. But he cannot claim ownership, he cannot claim any profit from that. He is only counting it for his boss. It's an excellent analogy. Similarly, Prabhupada says, one has to realize that nothing in this world belongs to an individual person, but everything belongs to the Lord. That is the real meaning of mine, unto me. And one who acts in such a Krishna consciousness, certainly he does not claim proprietorship over anything. this is mine, this belongs to me. No proprietorship. This consciousness is called nirmama, or nothing is mine. A Krishna conscious person understands that everything belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Today I was talking to Prabhuji, amazing example, and I was saying, Prabhuji, kya karenge? So Prabhuji's answer was very simple. I am a surrendered soul. Don't worry, it is Krishna's wish. If whatever he wants to happen, it will happen. Otherwise, he doesn't want it, no problem. Let's work. Let's not work for a result. Let's work with Krishna in mind. Total surrender. Very nice answer, Prabhuji. And good motivation for us as well, to hear it practically. So a Krishna conscious person understands that everything belongs to Krishna. He knows he is only a caretaker. Before I joined my spiritual journey, I always had this example that I used to give. And it was a material example, but I can connect it to the spiritual road or journey. So I always used to say, so somebody had a big house, and in that big house in Mombasa on the beach, he kept a caretaker. Okay? And the person used to live in London. So every once in a while he used to come, and lovely house, everything. Now suddenly something happened and he could not make it for 1 year. So 2-3 months, the caretaker thought that, hang on, this boss is not coming. Then he said, okay, let me, instead of living in the servant quarter, let me go and try and live in the house first. So he sat on the sofa, very nice. Then he increased his level. He went to the master bedroom and said, first he sat on the sofa, slept on the sofa. Then he said, why not I try the bed also? Very nice. Then suddenly he started thinking, okay, so I was looking in the master bedroom. He started realizing all the questions for the house, the maintenance, the manager, everything went to him. So he started feeling boss. He started feeling that I am the boss of this house. Then suddenly he started saying, okay, this house is lovely. Somebody approached that we want to do a wedding here on the beachfront. He said, no problem. I will charge you this one. So after a year or two, he was complete boss. He had forgotten who he was. And suddenly the boss came back. And the boss came back and said, well, what are you doing this? What is this? You are sleeping in the master room. So he put him back in the servant quarters again. And he realized, I was just a caretaker. If you look at me, I am completely blinded. And this is our position here in this material world. We have felt we are boss. Everything we are doing. I am the doer. I am intelligent. I am clever. I am an investor. I am the businessman. I am this. I am that. But there is nothing like that. If anything, these are all resources that Krishna has given us. But resources for what? Not for sense enjoyment, not to enjoy ourselves and make the most of this material world, total sense gratification. We have only one purpose here, and that is to go back home, back to Godhead. All these resources are given to us only for that. And that is very important to understand. So a Krishna conscious person understands everything belongs to Krishna. He knows that he is just a caretaker, nothing else. And when he fully takes this mood, the purpose of mine unto me is fully fulfilled. That everything is for Krishna, everything is for his enjoyment. Let's work towards that. He starts rendering service to the Lord by using everything Krishna has given to him. If he is wealthy, use the wealth. If he has a talent, I see Mataji always doing Bharati Mataji and all of them doing seva. That's a big deal. You're doing it not for your enjoyment. Have you won the heart, Mataji? Shriman Dwarkadishti, Sitaram, Shri Gaurita, Lakshmi Lakshmi, Srila Prabhupada. Have you ever won that heart, Mataji? No, because you're doing it for Krishna, for his enjoyment. Which flower I use? Let me order this. This color will go. This design will go. That is selfless work in Krishna consciousness. So he starts rendering service to the Lord by using everything Krishna has given, any talent, resource, whatever it is, for Krishna. He surrenders everything to the Lord because everything belongs to him. He does not claim any proprietorship over anything. This consciousness is called nirmama. Externally, somebody might say, oh, nothing is mine, nothing belongs to me, everything is Maya. This with time it will all go away. But this person, you have to be careful, is completely attached to that. He's saying it externally, but inside it's completely attached. However, when when he comes to a Krishna conscious devotee, he understands everything belongs to Krishna. Everything, including this body. I'm just a caretaker. In that mood, he executes his duties day to day in his day-to-day life. He's not attached to anything, and he has no feeling of proprietorship. So, for example, when somebody goes on the train, so he buys a ticket of the seat, and when his station comes, naturally he has to get off. But he doesn't take out unscrews the seat and go with it. He doesn't go with the seat out of the station. The purpose, the seat was only given to him for some time to reach his station or destination. The seat doesn't belong to him. And that is we need to understand this very clearly. I repeat again. These resources, we are first of all very, very lucky, because a normal human being outside is wondering where he's going to get his next meal from. How is he going to pay his rent? How is he going to pay his school fees? And I believe most of us here are not in that condition. We have, everything is autopilot. We don't worry about the food or no, like the school fees. All of these are literally taken care of. So we are already, Krishna has given us a very high level. When I again started my spiritual journey early days, and I was told this, and it makes total sense, makes more sense now, that if your Krishna consciousness is not complete, but you have started somewhere, Krishna will give you a birth in an aristocratic family, means a wealthy family. At least when I say wealthy, we don't want to be Ambani. We don't need that. But where we don't have to worry about our next meal. So a wealthy family, or a Brahmin family, a devotee family, or if you are even luckier, both. A devotee family as well as a wealthy family. So why is that? So already you've got a high platform that you don't worry about the running around, you don't worry about anything. You got this platform. From here, complete your Krishna consciousness journey. Come back to me. So we are all very privileged, but we don't take that seriously. If anything, it's ulta. It's ulta. If somebody is wealthy, 99% he is doing vikarma. He is breaking all the rules and regulations. Yeah? All the rules and regulations. If anything, a wealthy person is doing that to show that I am status. He's drinking alcohol. He is eating non-veg, meat eating. Okay? He's gambling. He's having illicit relation. Increase his status. I belong to this club. In fact, if you really think about it, where did this society deteriorate? When our forefathers came from India, they did not have any wealth. They were quite spiritual people. They were following all the spiritual regulations. But then came wealth. And with wealth, there was this, there was in the colonial time, there was this club, where this club only the white people could go. And people had this thing, that they had this grudge, कि हम भी बता देंगे ये गोरों को, हम भी अभी अमीर हो गए हैं, लेकिन किस लिए अमीर हुए हैं? To break all the rules. What happens in the club? Jua, gambling, alcohol, meat eating, illicit relation, all those regulations are broken. So people went there with a vengeance, and that's the start of the collapse of our society. Mugasa I'm talking about. This society started collapsing then because the wealth came, unregulated. So all the vikarmas are. So we need to be careful of such people who say, no, nothing belongs to me, I understand that all belongs to Krishna. We need to be very careful of that. The devotee, he understands this body is not mine. Similarly, this body, people around, everything else is given, as I said earlier, is given for us to utilize to reach the ultimate destination, Krishna. Use your intelligence, use your skill, whatever it is. Everybody is good at certain skill. Use it for service to Krishna. But all the time, we keep changing our body. We are from one to another. We are keeping shifting our destination. Today I want to do this. Tomorrow I want to do this. Tomorrow I want to do this. And with that comes bondage, because we are doing it for our sense gratification. And from that, we have got the bondage. Now we are fixed and stuck in the cycle of birth and death. So what are we doing in this entire process? We are giving up whatever we are attached to and going to the next destination and getting attached to something else. And we've been doing this for unlimited, infinite lifetime. We've been here God knows how long. We are just circulating and circulating. Yesterday, in one of the lectures, Prabhuji said, I think it was Rishit Prabhu said, we're going up, mode of goodness, then we feel pride, and we come back to passion, ignorance. Then again, we suffer, we are getting materially exhausted. So again, we try, start following the regulations. Again, we go to that. We get puffed up there, and come back. Prabhuji, also, there's example I thought about your question, that how is everybody bewildered and in a mode of goodness as well. So I give you an example of a person who is doing humanitarian work, okay? Maybe giving food to the poor. Now that person is completely in the mode of goodness, good, but he is bewildered because he's thinking, I am doing great. That ego builds up. It's not for Krishna. It's not for Krishna. It is for himself. How much good work I am doing. I am helping the people. I am doing this. I am giving food to these people. I am giving medicine to the people. Where is Krishna in there? Where is Krishna? And if there is no Krishna, it's just a cycle from top, come down, up, come down. That's all. But if Krishna is there, the whole activity has become spiritualized. And I repeat again the example, food for life. So take an example of somebody feeding the poor without Krishna, and now somebody doing food for life who is served Krishna, Bhog, and now is giving prasadam to the poor. Looks very same. If you look at it, oh, they are feeding the poor. No. It's a completely north and south pole difference. Completely different example. You understand? For the non-devotee, it looks like he's looking for the same activity. No. Completely. So that is Krishna consciousness. So in this way, a Krishna conscious person understands that he is not the proprietor of anything. And in this world, and everything belongs to Krishna. And I shall use everything for his service. Prabhupada explains in the purport, if there is any reluctance to execute such a stern order, which is without consideration of so-called kinsmen in the bodily relationship, that reluctance should be thrown off. So if there is, what he's saying is, if there is any hesitance, that Arjuna had this hesitance, he had this lethargy, that these are my family members, how will I fight them? He's feeling lazy, he's feeling hesitant. In this way, if you get rid of them, they become vigata jwara. That's the third instruction. Without feverish mentality or lethargy. So there is no question of feeling lethargy. There is no question of feeling feverish towards the kinsman. One has to execute his duty only and only for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the three different points that Krishna has mentioned here now. Then Krishna is saying, Yuddhasva, fight for my pleasure. Now what is Krishna saying in this verse? Let's go back a little bit. So I'm going to take you to verse 2.45 and I'm going to read the English meaning. The Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. O Arjuna, become transcendental to these three modes. Be free from all dualities and free from all anxieties for gain and safety and be established in the self. Now, the important words here, become transcendental to the three modes. So in both these verses, 2.45 and 3.30, Krishna is saying, come above the three modes of material nature and execute your duties. So where is Krishna saying that in 3.30? Where is he saying come above the modes? So I'll go a little bit deeper. So first Krishna is saying Adhyatma Chetasha. It means knowledge of Atma, knowledge of the Lord. That is actually knowledge in the mode of goodness. The second is talking about Nirashir, Nirmamo Bhutva, expectation of profit or claim of proprietorship. That is mode of passion. And Vigata Jwara, lethargy, is mode of ignorance. Laziness is mode of ignorance or hesitation. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna, you are stuck in these three modes. Come above them and come in full knowledge of me. Then Krishna makes it even more interesting. He adds a line. The line is, surrender everything unto me. In this verse, surrender everything unto me. And this line makes it perfect. This line brings the person to the mode of pure goodness, Shuddha Satoguna. And when he is in pure goodness, then that can be called Bhakti Yoga. So this is the first verse. Krishna is talking about Bhakti Yoga in chapter 3. Just by adding this line, Krishna has converted all the Nishkam Karma Yoga section into Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the detached work done for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whenever we have the pleasure of Supreme Personality of Godhead as the goal, that is Bhakti Yoga. In this way, we understand that Krishna is asking Arjuna to give up all these things and work for his pleasure. Prabhupada is mentioning in this verse, the first line in the purport, he says, this verse clearly indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. That's a heavy line. This verse indicates the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. Why is he saying that? Come above the modes of material nature, surrender unto me, work for the pleasure of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is summarized. Prabhupada says, duties must be carried out with dependence on Krishna, because that is the constitutional position of the living entity. The living entity cannot be happy, independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord. So, my example, the humanitarian work he is doing, but there is no Krishna. That's why it's dry. There is nothing there. It's going to fail. It's nothing. None of that can last. They can do as much as they want. It won't last. The living entity cannot be happy, independent of the cooperation of the Supreme Lord, because the eternal constitutional position of the living entity, us, is to become subordinate to the desires of the Lord. So what is our constitutional position? Let me ask the audience, what is our constitutional position as living entities? Mataji, you can't answer. What is our constitutional position? First of all, who are we? Who understands who we are? Who understands who we are? We are the soul, right? We are listening to the Bhagavad Gita every day. We are the Atma, right? What is our constitutional position? Our constitutional position says in the Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Jivara Swarup Bhai Krishna Nitya Das. What does that mean? It is the living entity's constitutional position to be an eternal servant of Krishna, and we have to serve Krishna. That is our eternal constitutional position. That is who we are. We understand that? We've understood everything. What does it mean when we say we have to serve Krishna? This means we have to understand what is Krishna's desire. We can't be whimsical that this is what we think. No, what is his desire? You will understand that and execute the same. Therefore, we are subordinate to Krishna's desires. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, one has to sacrifice everything for the goodwill of the Supreme Lord, and at the same time discharge prescribed duties without claiming proprietorship. We have to do our duties. We are not talking about renunciation. Again, that is right. What are you going to do? We have to work. We have to become more anxious, anxiety. But for who? For Krishna. Arjuna was not interested to fight. He was attached to so many people there. But then he started fighting for the pleasure of Krishna. He became a great example. Till today, we are all reading the Bhagavad Gita. We have to sacrifice many things for the pleasure of the Lord. We have to sacrifice our ego. We have to our attachments for the pleasure of the Lord, so that we can become closer to the Lord. It's not that Krishna will benefit from this. He will not benefit. It is us who will benefit. How will we benefit? We are slowly purifying ourselves, and as we continue, we will break this cycle of birth and death. We will achieve that eternal position that we are longing for. Krishna is very merciful. He speaks in this verse as if we will get the benefit. But it's not like that at all. It's only for our benefit. Krishna is Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. How is he going to get affected? He is so merciful that he wants all living entities to break this cycle of birth and death and go back home, back to Godhead. It is given very nicely in the Shastra about how we can purify ourselves. Prabhupada says, everyone, according to his quality and position, has a particular type of work to discharge. And all such duties must be discharged in Krishna consciousness, as described above. That will lead one to the path of liberation. That prescribed duty, working slowly towards that, gradually to purify you. So we have to be very intelligent to make sure that all our work is turned into Krishna conscious activity. The mood has to be changed. I am not working for profit for myself. I am not the proprietor. I am not the boss. I am working for Krishna. If this mood, while doing any activity, is there, that activity becomes Krishna conscious activity. If we do Krishna conscious activity every day, we will become fully Krishna conscious, fully purified, and we will attain the ultimate destination. Now, what is the easiest Krishna conscious activity? Last question. What is the easiest? Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is by far the most potent, most powerful, and the easiest thing we can do. I'm going to, just today I took a screenshot, and it wasn't planned to read here, but I have a habit of taking shots of the Shastra when I see something very interesting. So, it was in Canto 11, chapter 2, and this is quoted. So basically, it was there, but actually it's in Canto 6, 6.2.14. It says, in English meaning, the one who chants the holy name of the Lord is immediately freed from the reactions of unlimited sins. Now listen very carefully. Even if he chants indirectly to indicate something else. He's chanting but he's doing something else. I'm not encouraging this, but I'm reading from the Bhagavatam. He chants jokingly, for musical entertainment, or even neglectfully. This is accepted by all the learned scholars of the scriptures. Now, there's one example here, musical entertainment. There was a film that was released on the Hare Krishna, Dam Maro Dam, Bolo Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. So devotees were very upset. They said, Prabhupada, what is this? But Prabhupada was very happy. He said, they are doing with that intention, but everybody is speaking Hare Krishna. And actually this came out true, that Gopal Krishna Maharaj had gone to America and he was giving initiation to somebody. And he was asking, what happened? How did you come to Krishna consciousness? And that person said, long time ago, whatever, it was 60s or 70s, there was this movie that came out. And I saw that. And that mantra stayed in my mind. And today I am here taking initiation. So, Prabhupada was there. So one more time, everybody, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Ajamila, yes, Mataji. Because Ajamila, even by his name, he named his son